This is the podcast edition of AI is the Next Internet. Every Tuesday, I release a new chapter or discussion pulled directly from the book, focused on how AI is already reshaping leadership, authority, and competitive advantage. The goal is simple: cut through the noise and focus on what actually matters. Introduction: AI is the next internet. I learned early what happens when authority encounters technology it does not understand. Before AI, before the commercial internet, before cybersecurity was even a recognized discipline, I was already inside of emerging systems. I started programming in the seventh grade, driven by curiosity rather than a career ambition. I wanted to understand how systems behaved under pressure, what assumptions broke, and how rules reveal their limits. That curiosity followed me into high school and into early online communities that centered around hacking and freaking culture. At the time, those communities were exploratory, technical, and largely misunderstood. They existed in a gray space where innovation moved faster than explanation. That misunderstanding escalated quickly. I was raided by the FBI, the Secret Service, Wells Fargo investigators, and the San Diego Police Department. Equipment was seized, assumptions were made, headlines followed. To the authorities involved, this was unfamiliar territory, and unfamiliar technology was treated as a threat. Every charge was dropped. There was no crime. What remained was a lesson that stayed with me for decades. When leaders do not understand a technology, fear fills the gap. And fear does not produce clarity, it produces reaction. That experience shaped how I've viewed every major technology shift since. In 1994, I founded my first company, Garrison Technologies, at the dawn of the commercial internet. Once again, organizations knew something important was happening, but few understood how it would change their work. Banks, credit unions, and enterprises wanted to, quote unquote, get on the internet, but when pressed on what that meant, uncertainty dominated. They asked for firewalls without understanding what a firewall was. They worried about productivity loss, reputational damage, and regulatory exposure. Leadership hesitation was framed as responsibility. The explanation they were waiting for never arrived in time. What arrived instead was behavior. People connected modems to systems they should not have. Credentials were shared so others could complete business transactions more efficiently. Personal devices quietly became part of business workflows. Leadership believed they were managing risk. In reality, they were losing visibility. I was a consultant at the time, which gave me a different vantage point. I didn't carry internal political risk, but I did feel a responsibility to help my customers. What I saw consistently was the restrictions did not slow adoption. It simply pushed it out of sight. The more useful the technology became, the less relevant permission felt. Over the next 2 decades, I worked across financial institutions, casinos, critical infrastructure, and community banks, leading red team engagements and security assessments that expose the same pattern again and again. Leadership hesitation creates blind spots. Innovation moved forward anyway. I become a certified locksmith to better understand the physical controls the same way I understand logical ones. I earned credentials like the CISSP and CISM, served as a SANS mentor, was covered on Forbes magazine, and helped build communities through founding the Open Web Application Security Project chapter in San Diego, as well as the Cloud Security Alliance. Each role reinforced the same lesson: technology does not wait for understanding. My first real AI moment came not from a chatbot or a demo, but from seeing large language models analyze mammograms. That was the moment it clicked. This was not just automation, this was interpretation, judgment, authority embedded into systems. It felt immediately familiar. I had seen this movie before. AI is the next internet. The difference this time is speed, autonomy, and consequence. This book is written for CIOs, CTOs, and CAIOs and senior executives who want to remain relevant as AI reshapes how decisions are made, how risk expands, and how authority quietly shifts. It is not about tools or hype. It is about leadership, engagement, and what happens when misunderstanding fills the gap. This book is written for CIOs, CTOs, and CAIOs who want to remain relevant as authority quietly shifts. It is not about tools or frameworks. It is about leadership, about recognizing when waiting feels responsible but actually transfers influence elsewhere.